Hopefully you've already tweaked your system with the video I put up recently, which covers the new Windows Full Creators Update. And if you have, then your system should be working pretty well for audio. However, with the Surface Pro 2017, there's something else that you have to do. And as I've said many times, the CPU within the Surface Pro is not really designed for music making, because the sort of thing that we want is loads and loads of power on all the time. That's what we want, that's our basic requirement. However, you are not going to find a CPU which does that within a gorgeous mobile touchscreen environment. It's just not going to happen. They stick in Ultrabook processors and they are designed to shut power down as quickly as possible in order to conserve battery life. So we have this dynamic going on where we're trying to sort of battle against that sort of thing. Back on the Surface Pro 3, that worked really well. Its only problems being heat, and when it got to a certain thermal level, the processor would step down regardless of what you try to do, and that could seriously ruin your project. On the Surface Pro 4, the CPU was banging around so much all the time that you just got glitching nearly all the time until they fixed that and made it a lot more stable. With the Surface Pro 2017, there's stability up to a point, and then there's this lovely space of sort of turbo power, which is too erratic to actually make use of. Let me try to illustrate this. I've got the Intel Extreme Tuning utility running here, which is just showing us CPU usage and CPU frequency. Now, as I run a test project, the CPU will leap up in order to try to use all of the power available to it within its turbo profile. And you think, that's great, I'm loading up tons and tons of plugins here. And as you can see here, this particular point here, it was up to about 3.3 gigahertz, 3.2 gigahertz, which is amazing. And within that space, I could load a ton of plugins and keep on going and keep on going. And then, for no suitably explored reason, it just dropped down to 2.6. Just like that. I mean, there must be a trigger, but I'm darned if I can find it. And I find that actually it's more likely that it just goes up and down, bit up, bit down, bit up, bit down. And that's no good, because if you've loaded plugins within the space of about 3.2 gigahertz, once it dropped, your audio is going to crackle and disappear because it's not coping with the amount of stuff you've got loaded. Turbo mode on a processor is designed to do quick tasks and then come back again. Go off and do something fast and then come back again. But we're loading it up to a constant amount of processor usage, and that's not what this is designed for. So I've got DAWBench loaded here with a whole load of plugins. If I load that now, we should see the effect of the CPU. So did you see that? That was quite interesting. When I hit play, it leapt up to 3.3, something or other, and playback was fine. And then suddenly it went, oh no, this can't be right. I can't stay up here because the whole thing will just catch fire. So it dropped down again, and that killed the playback. It went all glitchy. That's no good. We can't have that because you can't work in that turbo space. You can't. There's nothing you can do to work in there. It's not designed for that. I mean, particularly the i5, because it's fanless and so needs to retain some kind of sensible level of thermal dynamics. So what do? Well, there's a very, very simple tweak which I found to be extremely effective. It's to do with our power settings. So if we go power, edit power plan, that's what we want. Now we've got it set to high performance, we know that. Another quick tip here, that if you weren't able to find high performance when you did my other tweak video, press on create a power plan, and then the high performance option will become available. By the by, high performance, change plan settings, advanced power settings. In here, go down to processor power management, minimum and maximum, and you want to set the minimum and maximum to 99%. Genius, yes, I know. So 99, and here 99. Hit OK. And what we will find is that the CPU will no longer jump up into that turbo range. It will stay stuck at about 2.56, which is, round about the normal operating speed of the processor. Now my project here is loaded with enough plugins to run in 3.3 gigahertz, so it's not going to be able to handle all of these when running at 2.5. So let me disable a bunch of these first, otherwise it will just crackle like crazy. Okay, so there's a comfortable amount of plugins. There's still some room here at the end. If we go back to our performance meter here, we can see that it's more or less stable. It does move a little bit. At the moment it's at 2.58 and it sort of goes 2.58 down to 2.4 and up again, but not really enough to make a plugin's worth of difference. Whereas when it's wanging itself up to 3.3 and you suddenly find yourself adding more stuff, when that crashes back down, it's just a disaster. So in restricting the processor power to 99%, I'm enabling more stability in the system. I'm preventing turbo mode, yes, so potentially I'm losing some performance, you could say, but I'm gaining a level of stability that wasn't previously there. The other side of that is that I'm not going to overwork the thermals of the system, so it's not going to overheat either. So the net result of all that is that I have a much more stable, predictable and consistent system. And that's what you want. That is the holy grail of the audio computer.